The Democratic National Committee has filed a lawsuit accusing their Republican counterparts of supporting what they call Donald Trump's efforts to, quote, intimidate and discourage minority voters from casting their ballots. The DNC says that it's clear from Trump's warnings about a rigged election and his call for supporters to head to urban areas to make sure there's no cheating that Mr. Trump wants to suppress minority voting.
We're going to watch Pennsylvania. Go down to certain areas and watch and study and make sure other people don't come in and vote 5 times.
A judge is going to hold a hearing to discuss the DNC filing tomorrow. My political panel joins me now. We have with us former Executive Director of the Congressional Black Caucus, Angela Rye, and former Ted Cruz Communications Director, Alice Stewart. Alice, what do you make of this complaint? And they're saying that Trump is calling upon his supporters to intimidate minority voters.
I think his whole line throughout the campaign of the rigged election and rigged media and rigged everything, I think that's way off the mark. And I think he needs to get away from that. I do think it has led to some voter intimidation in terms of people think, well, if the system's rigged and voting's rigged, then why go vote? He hasn't got the memo. You know, the voting is done state by state and county by county, and to say that all of them are rigged is just factually incorrect. And I think just the fact that we've even had this discussion leading to this action by the DNC, I think is unfortunate, because there's certainly more important things that we could be spending our time on.
Angela, I want to show you this new ad from the Trump campaign that just was released.
America's most sensitive secrets, unlawfully sent, received, and exposed by Hillary Clinton, her staff, and Anthony Weiner. Hillary cannot lead a nation while crippled by a criminal investigation. Hillary Clinton, unfit to serve.
It's a brutal and devastating ad, and certainly the reemergence of Anthony Weiner is not doing any favors for Hillary Clinton.
He's not done any favors for anyone this whole election cycle, including himself, and thankfully he's not running. I think the one thing that I would say is this ad in particular is interesting because it reminds me of past political ads where people can say anything, and of course they're not rooted in fact. The one contrast I would offer here is Hillary Clinton's ads. They have been negative, but they've been Donald Trump's negative words. Here, they're talking about a criminal investigation that doesn't exist, and they're talking about Hillary's emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop, and we don't know that that's the case yet. So he's kind of playing in the false, not-so-true area in this ad.
There are State Department emails that might be on the computer, and we're not sure exactly what they are.
I think it's fair game when we're talking about potential for classified information to be on the laptop of the perverted, estranged husband of Hillary's right-hand woman. I think people are concerned about that. Heaven knows what else we will find out when this investigation continues. And I think, you know, I know Comey's under a lot of fire for bringing this to the surface at this point, but this is something that people are certainly concerned with. And it doesn't help, you know, unfortunately for Hillary Clinton, bringing Anthony Weiner into the fold with all the emails.
She didn't really bring him into the fold. I think that's a gross exaggeration.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it not fair game? I mean, Huma Abedin is one of Hillary Clinton's top aides. She's referred to her as a surrogate daughter. She is married, although now estranged, to Anthony Weiner, who has this checkered past and present and is now being investigated for allegedly sexting a minor, and now these emails show up on his computer. I mean, those are just facts.
No, I think that's right, and I think it's fair game to say there are some concerns. I think what's not fair game is to say, oh, there is a criminal investigation now. That was not true before, and it's not true now. So I think that you're playing in a gray area, and of course we know Donald Trump is not just playing in a gray area. He's actually dove right into it this election. So
well,
I think
political ads are not known for nuance and subtlety.
You're right.
Speaking of which, of nuance and subtlety, or lack thereof, Melania Trump, you used to work for Ted Cruz.
Yes.
And there probably is nobody who was cyberbullied more by Donald Trump and his team and his supporters than Ted Cruz, Heidi Cruz, Rafael Cruz. What do you make of Melania? First of all, I take her at her word. I'm sure that she actually means this, and she wants to, if she's First Lady, she wants to make this a project to combat cyberbullying. But is it not a little discordant given her husband's activities on Twitter?
Right. When you saw her give her speech and talk about the need to address cyberbullying, it is a serious problem. But I think there was a collective gasp across the nation going, have you met your husband, Donald?
Right.
Because, yes, I mean, this is something that he has done throughout the primary, as you say. He was very, very brutal to Ted and Heidi and Raphael, and not only tweeting falsehoods, but then going out on the campaign trail and reigniting them yet again and making, a news story out of something that's not true whatsoever. So yes, I think if she wanted to have a good faith effort in cyberbullying, start with offender number one, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. North Carolina, so much of this election is going to come down to just a handful of states, and North Carolina is one of them. Why do you think black turnout is so down in these early voting states like North Carolina? They are very, very concerned, the Clinton team and Democrats, about African-American turnout being way low. You used to be executive director of the Congressional Black Caucus. What's going on?
Well, a few things. One, I don't think that black turnout is as suppressed as it's been said. I will say, though, that North Carolina in particular, it is interesting that this is a state that had voter suppression in the state legislature, signed into law by Pat McCrory, and now you have concerns
To reduce the number of
early voting days. And normally, black people, Democrats, disproportionately turn out on early voting days. So ironically, right, or not so ironically, voting is down and turnout is down. In addition to that, you do have an election where folks are not only not excited, but actually really frustrated by how negative the tone is, how frustrating it is that both candidates aren't well liked, and in some instances not as well respected. I think that there's been a turnaround, though, over the last couple of days. I know in particular, Steve Shell, for example, talked about Florida. There's now an increase. There's been a bump of 55,000 black voters today. So I think that we shouldn't necessarily count black folks out just yet. We always show up, and we are a very reliable voting.
One thing that something that Trump's done strategically that I think has been effective is reminding African-American voters that Hillary Clinton in 1994, and this was tape, I think, Andrew Kaczynski from K-File from CNN first unearthed, that Hillary Clinton was the one who started talking about super predators,
right?
And how much African-Americans really, understandably, hated that term.
Well, and she has since walked that back. Of course, at the time she was doing that to support Bill Clinton and efforts that he was working on. She's walked that back. But clearly, that is a case where he can, with all reason and cause, use her own words against her, and that is something that has hurt her, and that's something that I think is good for him to push. At the same time, I think he has certain other areas he needs to focus on. His vote in the minority community is so low. He's much better spending his time focused on he already has the base, but the undecideds and independents that are concerned with issues like, I think Obamacare is a big issue that people are extremely concerned with, and they certainly are concerned with national security and the Supreme Court. But really doing a focus on Obamacare, which is in the forefront of people's mind because it's a pocketbook issue, that is a key, that's more successful.
But Jake, on Super Predator, I think the thing that we have to remember that I think so many of us think about now is the Central Park Five for Donald Trump. So it's really hard for him to point a finger at Hillary Clinton about Super Predator when he has the Central Park Five, who he called for their execution in 4 New York papers, and still hasn't apologized for that. $85,000 investment into calling for the death penalty.
Do you think Democrats have made that argument as well as Donald Trump?
I don't think so, but
no.
Don't be surprised this weekend.
I mean, I don't think that they've. I mean, I hear the argument that you're making. But honestly, you're the first person to make it on the show, I think, the Central Park Five.
Watch this weekend.
And we've heard Super Predator, we've been hearing Super Predator for 6 months.
You're right. And I'm not saying that it's
including, by the way, from some Bernie Sanders backers.
You're
Killer
right.
Mike and Ben
I talked about it, too. I've been on this air, and I said this. It was a horrible term. But what's worse is to treat people like they're super predators and to call for their death.
You guys are great. Thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it.